Hello, I'm making a video with this Cabbage Patch baby, okay? And I'm making him a dog. So this is all planned out. The baby blanket is already there on the table next to the red computer, and I'm going to be cutting that baby blanket into just the right rectangular squares and rectangular and squares, and I will make him, this is a boy, I will make him a dog, and large dog, and I will stuff that dog with all these extra cloth rests that I have accumulated over time, and it's gonna be a fun dog, a friend of Martha and Javier, because they inspired me so much to make a dog for this baby here. And then the baby can ride on the dog. It's just, playing, being a play child. Being an artist is being a play child. And this face here is particularly lovely. And the perfect it is a perfect mix between Martha and Javier, this baby here. So one can still see the inspiration by Martha, the face, the way the nose is shaped. And then Javier just transformed it into his own face. They all look like Javier. Papa Dog is outside. He's outside. He is? Okay. It's cold outside, so we are really packed warm with thick blankets and everything. And thank goodness the sun is shining so that this room, this upper room here that has a lot of windows, can soak up the sun and heat up from the sunlight alone. This is very nice, and we have a greenhouse attached to this that also adds extra heat. So yeah, so that's what we're doing here. We're trying to live as green as we can, and we utilize the sun. The sun is female in German, so Bob Hickman calls him the sun god, or no, the sun lord. He calls him the sun lord. Okay. So that's okay. You can, yeah, that's just a little unusual for me because the sun is female in German. So, and I grew up in Germany, and so die Sonne, yeah, which is the female, the sun, the female article in front of Sonne. Die means is, we have three different articles instead of the, so three different types of the. So one is female, one is male, and one is neutral. And the sun is D, which means the female attribution. So die Sonne. And the sun is a powerful goddess. Okay? And this here is a boy with beautiful, beautiful golden hair, but sorry to say it is just a wig, because underneath is a Kim Jong-un haircut with red hair. He's really a redhead with a blonde wig on that I kind of sewed into that red hair. Playing around, So, but I think it looks kind of lovely. I like the way it looks, and I just, this face is very, very, very artistic, and it is born out of Martha and Javier, and so they inspired me now to make him a dog that he can ride on, a real big dog, a plush dog made out of a baby blanket that has Christmas theme patterns on it, like snowman and Santa Claus and stuff like that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. And when that's finished, I'm still sewing on a sweater right now. Once that is finished, I will work on the dog. And I'm still gathering insights, and I'm still pondering very strongly over the exact cut, because that's really critical to do the exact cut right of the shape of the fabric, because then once we stuff it, it will really depend on how we have sewn these patches together, that the stuffing material will end up filling out, into a specific shape. And even though it does round itself and everything, it's still critical how these patches are sewn together and in which angle and so on. And I like to keep it all very squarish. That's just my particular art style. I like things squarish. Squarish, rounded. Safely rounded, but squarish. Abundant, where there is no space wasted, where everything is filling the space out, abundance of filling out space. As you can see in my last video, the one before the last, where I was making this rectangular shape with Play-Doh. So I molded the Play-Doh over a box, and that I just love doing this because that's just exactly the shape that I always envision and that I can imagine, as a living existence somewhere on a different planet. So this here is not my creation, and it is very rare for me to embrace someone else's art creation. So it is very rare. So it's a big compliment to Martha and Javier for this amazing shape, for these amazing dolls that are actually artwork. They are mass produced. It doesn't matter, whether they are mass produced. I said that before, to me, that doesn't make any difference. It's just, makes them less expensive, but then it's good. Then so many kids can have one. So this was very inexpensive. I think I paid like $20 for this baby at Walmart. So, thank you, Javier. Thank you for mass marketing. I think that's great, and Martha should be grateful for that. So, and so that's, not to mass market. That's more like saying, oh, this is my artwork, I don't want this to be mass marketed or whatever. That's my artwork and it should stay artwork. But when we make an artwork that kids respond so well to, then why keep it in a limited amount? That's my question. If I make artwork and if you want to duplicate and multiply and create those cubic shapes that I make there with Sculpey and Fimo and Play-Doh or whatever materials I use, if you want to mass market them in China, go for it, man. Even if you don't give me any royalties, this is amazing that this amazing shape will get into the world because there's a message in it. Just like the dolls, the doll sculptures of Martha have a message in it, and now Javier gave them his own facial features as well. So these are not the original Martha faces. Okay, they are similar, but these faces look like Javier. It's true. It really is true. He used the idea for the face and made the basically it's like he put the original shape into his own shape. That's what he did. It's absolutely amazing, you know. And I would never have sued him for that. I would never have done it. I'm not just saying this to be on someone's good side or something. No, I thought about this for a very long time. I read both sides, you know. Javier didn't say, I don't know. Yeah, he talked about this briefly. But the friends of Martha are all angry, and I listened to everyone with an open mind. I really did. And yeah, I can understand. I can understand where they're all coming from. But this is what Friedrich Nietzsche is talking about. They're also the reason why this whole thing has escalated so much is because it does come back down to a feeling of unempowerment. And that's kind of like, you know, someone, it's like, it's almost a little bit, you know, how can I explain this? As if I'm not the perfect example for this, but let's say if Warren Buffett, he goes to, let's say he goes to Ladakh, or just an example, Ladakh, somewhere in the Himalayan mountains, and he sees how they make a flatbread with whole wheat flour, and they make it into a specific shape. Just an example. And he goes back home and he says, "Oh, I learned. They inspired me so much in Ladakh. They make whole wheat flatbreads, and they put specific herbs into it, and it's very wholesome and it's very delicious. And if you put some vegan cheese on it, it tastes really, really great. And drink some fresh raw grape juice with it." And he will mass market this as a cookbook or something. And then someone from Ladakh feels very, very hurt, and like the person or the family, and they will say he didn't give them any royalties for inspiring him for this amazing cookbook or something. You know, that's kind of like on that. I don't know if this is the right analogy, but it's kind of like on that order. And you know, if I was the person practicing this wholesome method of making bread, then I would be very grateful for Warren Buffett to make that into a cookbook and help other people get that same amazing nourishment as well. So that's just my point of the view. And because I studied philosophy and psychology very much in depth, and I have come to the conclusion, and that makes a whole lot of sense what Friedrich Nietzsche said, and many others, and Tony Robbins, and Pema Chodron, and of course my Gautama Buddha Jiddu Krishnamurti, that that we have to go into stillness. We have to go into ourselves. We have to introspect. We have to question ourselves, our own motives. And then once we let go of the self, you know, then we see that, and I'm sure that the people in Ladakh understand that. I just use this as an example. Was not a very good analogy, but I'm just using this. The people in Ladakh know this very well, and I think they would be very grateful if Warren Buffett would go out and make a cookbook in the Tibetan tradition or something. So anyway, it is, you know, when you are empowered from within, you want the world to know for free what you know. You want everyone to know. You don't want to, it's the being paid for it is not the number one on your priority list. If you have something amazing to say that will help animals and people, you would want that to be mass marketed, to be spread. The message, the idea, the shape, the form, the taste, the nutrition, you want that to be passed around from one hand to another around the whole world so that everyone can enjoy that. That's where we rejoice in happiness together without without the if it comes back down to ego or copyright or I'm the originator and I didn't get enough credit for it, or I didn't get enough, I wasn't mentioned enough, or I didn't get enough royalties for it. And then when it comes to money, then it becomes really pitiful. So now it is a celebration. And if someone makes money on it, good for him. He spread it around the world. He deserves his water slide. He deserves his happiness that comes out of it. Why can't we, and this is also what I've been wanting to talk about, why can't we be happy for someone else when someone else is happy? Why do most people get so angry? For example, I saw this amazing documentary film about the artist, I think his name is Jean-Michel Basquiat, and he was living in New York. A a very, very amazing artist guy, and when he was a child, his parents took the kids into a museum, which is very great. This is great parenting, and he saw caveman art and indigenous type of art and stuff like this, and he was extreme. It spoke to him, so I know that there's something going on with reincarnation also. And he just completely dove into that world of those depictions, and of people and animals, and of these very amazing type of this style, and with specific symbols and so on. He was really excited about it. And he got really into it, and he just drew everywhere he could draw something, graffiti and paint and art. And then the art collectors, they found out about him, and because they're only about money. They I think it is them that they did a lot of damage to him psychologically. He didn't have any help psychologically. It's a real tragic story. Look it up for yourself. I'm not going to get into the details now. It's very sad. So the art world has the greedy people on one side that will come and promote the stuff. It's good on one hand they promote it, but they really go overboard with it. They go into mafia overboard. I don't want to say anymore. I let you come to your own conclusions with these kind of things. But there's murder happening. They will make it into a suicide, make it look like a suicide, and so on. And I think that happened with a lot of artists. So, when I get ready to bleep out, maybe then I go, okay, now you can make me famous, and then you can kill me and make it look like a suicide, and I don't care. I'm going to the Orion Nebula where I meet all of my dogs. And so I'll just make this all into a complete celebration, everything, whatever happens. And we can do this. We can make everything into a celebration, even death, even being confronted with really greedy people. We can make this into a celebration. So yeah, I'm not comparing Javier with the art collectors at all. This has not that it's this is not an analogy for Javier. So this is just another subject now that I'm talking about. And that Basquiat, the boy, the artist boy, amazing kid. he had a bunch of friends there, and it was this art scene in the 80s. I remember I was living in Germany at that time. Very punk, very no future, very much it was all drugs and rock and roll and punk and heavy metal, and it was a very broken time, the 80s. Very, it was a very crushing era, really. Everything, the fashion was horrific, the the music was bleak and angry, and lots of drugs, that people were taking, not me, but I was in the midst of all of this, watching and observing. It was very sad to see. So anyway, in New York, I can just imagine how freaky it must have been. And so he was starting to make millions of dollars with his artwork, and his friends, that his colleagues, artist colleagues, they were starting to get very jealous. See, this is what I want to talk about. Instead of rejoicing with him and saying, "Man, this is fantastic. I'm so happy for you that you're making all of these millions of dollars. I I just want to celebrate for you, with you." No, they get jealous. They started to have animosity against him, and it must have been really hard. It must have been very difficult to deal with all of this. Then where he would find out they are not his friends, and where it dwindles down as usual to the 1 or 2% of kind people. And if you have 100 friends, then you will have 1 or 2 people in the very end who stick to you no matter what. Whether you have these billions of dollars, they will rejoice with you. Whether you are in a hospital, or whether you are a drug addict, or whether you are gay, or whether you are an outcast, or whatever you are, these 2% will stick to you, and they will be there for you, and they will see your preciousness. They will not be, their egos will not be affected. They will have less ego. And this is what I'm trying to convey is it possible, that's what Jiddu Krishnamurti is asking, that we can introspect, and we can recognize this and say, I'm happy for that other person. I used to be jealous of her, but now I'm happy for her. I'm happy that she has that beauty. I'm happy that she has all of this. I'm happy that she is being recognized by the Vogue magazine or whatever. I'm happy for her that she has all these friends, thousands and thousands of friends and fans and so on. I'm happy for her. Great. She used to be alone. Now she has all of this. I'm happy for her. Instead of getting really angry and saying, how is it possible that he gets this or that she gets this, and I don't get it. How dare they not look at me, So, it's that kind of feeling, that's a really bad place to be emotionally. That's a real that's a real bad mental state. That's a very impoverished mental state. That's as Tony Robbins calls it, impotent thoughts. So let's turn this around and make the thoughts potent again. Let's make the thoughts powerful again. Let's empower ourselves from within and say yes to the now moment. Yes. And yesterday I made a video. I had to delete it again. It was full of anger. I mean, it wasn't like direct, obvious anger, but I saw the anger in it. I saw that exact thing, like, why am I alone? I just am, and maybe because I want intellectual friends so badly, maybe I stand in my own way from finding those people. When I get needy, people will misunderstand it as, oh, she must have something up her sleeve or something. So we stand in our own ways if we want to connect with someone too badly, then we make that other person into sort of like a rescuer. And that's an impoverished mind state. We need to turn that around. We need to come back out. And the way we come back out is if we stop completely. Completely stop. It's not easy to recognize what that entails, that stopping. It can be intellectualized very quickly. This moment of stopping. What does it really mean to stop? What does it really mean to stop? It means to breathe. It means to say, okay, I'm giving up. I'm giving up. And I wrote a blog on Facebook about this also. That was I had a very good thought process going on, and I captured that in a blog, in a sort of like a poetic, artistic blog. And I put it on in my Philosophy of Love group. And it was very wonderful to write this down. It was a very wonderful creative process. And that happened after I had gone back to my artwork and continued painting, even though I had back pain, and I did it anyway. And I was sitting there with back pain, and it was exhausting to hold my hand up like this the whole time. I would have to put my hand down and rest before I put it back up. And the UPS guy is coming. Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, UPS guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, he says. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I don't even know what his name is here. Thank you, UPS guy. Thank you. Papa Dog says thank you too to the UPS guy. Hoo 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 hoo, he says. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My backpack's coming. So, anyway, it is wonderful to get into the state of now. And whatever that now moment is, whether it is your sister having success, becoming a photo model, and you are not, whether it is you have back pain and you have to wash the dishes, or whether it is you want to make an artwork but your arm is hurting, your back is hurting, and it's exhausting, and you don't even, and the feeling is no one will even see it anyway, but you do it anyway because you do it for the art. Art for art's sakes. You do it for the art. You serve art. And then, while I was painting and listening to Jiddu Krishnamurti, and Dave was sitting on my couch, and I was painting and painting and painting. The light is bad here because we just don't have very good light. I need a better studio. But it's okay. I had my little Walmart lamp shining on it from below. It was okay. It was good enough. And suddenly, listening to Jiddu and David, suddenly I started crying. And then I started sobbing, and then I started to cry a whole lot, and very loud, and very long, for very long, and a lot of tears streaming down my cheeks because of sorry feelings, feeling sorry for myself, feeling lonely. And I just said it out loud. I said, I'm lonely, lonely. And I just let myself completely feel. that loneliness. And in that feeling of really accepting that loneliness, something amazing came out of it. An amazing stream of creativity. Papa Dog says, thank you, thank you, thank you, UPS guy. So, okay, and that's what we need to do. We need to, if we can do this, everyone can do it. You sit down and you say, whatever is there, whatever is happening right now in my life, you know, I let myself feel it 100%. I'm not going to distract myself. I'm not going to run away from it. I'm not going to watch someone else's video right now. I'm not going to listen to music. I'm just going to let this be. Lean into that loneliness. Lean into the fear. Lean into the sadness. And that's a wonderful thing. And while you do it, really relax into it and breathe fully, deeply through your abdomen. And that's amazing if that happens. Try that and let me know what happens. Try that out right now and write down under this video what it feels like. Okay? You guys take care.